Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Lion and Liverbird podcast. And if there's one word that can describe this particular episode, I think, Adeem, it's blockbuster. And I'm using the word blockbuster to describe Liverpool's transfer dealings in this particular window, right? It's a historic transfer market. You guys have broken the English transfer record multiple times and basically more than made up for your lack of transfer activity last season. So, with that said, Adeem, take it away with an overview and let's dive in.
So this transfer window has been sensational for Liverpool, and I think 99% of Liverpool fans cannot believe what has happened because we've seen FSG break the bank at times, but not do what they did this time around. That means we've signed two of the most expensive players in the world and two incredible talents in Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. But that's not all. We've also signed Jeremy Frimpong, we've signed Milos Kerkez, we signed Hugo Ekitike, who looks like an amazing player already. We've signed a youngster in Giovanni Leone. We've got Mamadashvili coming in, who was signed a season earlier. We've got Armin Pesci. We've got Freddie Woodward, another goalkeeper. So it's kind of crazy as to how we've gone about this transfer window because you make one marquee signing, right? That's what Liverpool do. One marquee signing and done. You might spend 70, 80 million. No, we spent 125 million pounds on Isak on the transfer deadline day, 116 million on Florian Wirtz, and 79 million on Ekitike. So we've spent 400 and what's the figure? 446 million pounds in one transfer window, and we've smashed or broken the record that was held by Chelsea for most spending in a transfer window. So I'm flabbergasted. I really don't know what else to say because in all these 20 years of me supporting Liverpool, there has never been a transfer window like this for us. Never. Uh, it's
So,
sensational.
So let's just put some quick context to that, right? You guys have spent 446 million pounds, like you said, but you've also sold for like 228 million pounds. So your net spend is actually 218 million pound, which is less than Arsenal, right? So I think that context is important. Added to that, the fact that you only spent 5 million pounds last season does not, make this the outlier that it seems to be, right? It's really not the outlier. You guys bided your time last season, and when it came to it, you basically had all your bullets in your chamber and you like shot everybody else in the transfer market, to use a pretty bad analogy. Adeem, I think the fact that your ownership is backing the current structure so much. What does that say? An ownership that's very famous for being frugal, for being money bally, so to speak.
I have a couple of theories with this. The first, obviously, is that you've got Michael Edwards back and you've got Richard Hughes back joining us. So the pair were criticized a lot last season because of the contracts with Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Alexander Arnold going up to the last day of the season almost. But what they've done this season shows that there is a really good structure in place. And I think for the first time in a long time, we have two world class players for every single position in the starting 11, which we've never had before. Maybe you could say that the defense could have been better with Marc Guehi coming in, but that's a different story we'll touch upon. So I think what happens is that they've seen Michael Edwards do really well in the past, and he's rejoined us, and they've given him full control with Richard Hughes that no, go build this team. And we won the Premier League at a canter last season, right? I mean, without really making any signings apart from Chiesa. So this was, I think, the perfect time to build this side. And it's almost like a Liverpool 2.0. You've seen so many players go out. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Simicas, Elliott, Nunes, Diaz. These guys were linchpins for our system last time around, but they're not there. So I think there is a lot of trust in Michael Edwards and what he can do. The other theory I have, and this could be a little bit of a controversial one, is that I think Jurgen Klopp did not want to spend as much money as he could have. I think he was a little, I don't know. He came out and said a lot of times, there are certain clubs that have a ceiling and we can't cross it. And we were one of those clubs compared to, I think, Chelsea and another club he was speaking about who could spend millions in signing players. I just think that maybe FSG did not want to spend a lot under him, or maybe he did not want to spend as much because some of the signings he made, or one of the signings that he made was a huge money move for Darwin Nunes, and that didn't click. And he was, very persistent with some of the signings he made. So I really feel that they wanted to spend FSG. They've seen that, this is the time that we could make Liverpool a more bigger global brand and bring more money in. And I think they've smashed it because I think they're set now for the future for the next 5, 6 years at least.
I think you pulled on a very interesting thread, Adim. I think the fact that Liverpool always has five different departments agreeing on a transfer before they go ahead, right? Your data analysis, your video analysis, your normal scouts, your coaching, your technical director, everybody has to agree. And Jurgen Klopp was known to, disagree with, the team that was there, right? And a perfect example, obviously, is Darwin Núñez, right? And in Arne Slot, you have somebody who's perfectly synergized with the entire setup, and then he just gets back. That seems very interesting. So let's quickly talk about some of these signings, right? And I'd like to start off with like the two center forwards that you've bought, who are basically carbon copies of each other, right? Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike. Both of them very skillful, both of them tall, both of them thin, both of them very mobile. And what's going to happen with both of these? Are you envisioning like a Premier League, Champions League kind of two-folded, spearheaded attack, making sure that you go deep into both, or do you also foresee a little bit of frustration? If Ekitike stops starting as many games, or if Isak stops starting, is there a risk there as well?
I think there is a bigger plan and a bigger picture in place for this because what you've said is, I believe what Liverpool will do, and they will have a two-pronged attack with Ekitike and Isak leading the line, but not this season. What I think will happen is that Ekitike will. Ekitike will be a striker now for at least a month, month and a half, because Isak has not trained at all with Newcastle, although he's with Sweden right now during the international break. So he needs to get up to complete fitness, sharpness, whatever you want to say. So Ekitike continues for a month, month and a half, and then there will be a lot of rotation, which is something Arne Slot could not do last season because we just did not have the manpower for this. But what I see happening next season, and I think this could rankle a few feathers more, is that I see Mohamed Salah actually leaving uh, because that would be his last year of the deal. And he will get us a lot of money because if he goes to Saudi, he goes to any club in the world, we'll get at least 50, 60 million, if not more. And that's when this entire strategy or plan from Arne Slot might come into place. You'll get Isak and Ekitike leading the line. You'll get Wirtz playing behind them, and we might have the diamond or a three-man midfield with Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberg. I think that's the long-term plan because we need a replacement for Salah. And getting that kind of a right winger is kind of difficult. Although a lot of people are saying that Michael Olise is like the perfect replacement for Salah. That is to be seen if he does come from Bayern Munich or not. Yeah, that's a lot. So
No, but I mean, not after this season. What you guys have pulled off this season, that seems very doable.
no, what I'm saying is that he should be open to coming because he left the Premier League, coming back to the Premier League.
Agreed.
That's the thing. And there are so many crazy rumors already circling regarding our midfield. So apparently, we let Harvey Elliott go to Aston Villa because we want to sign Morgan Rogers next season, which would be an amazing signing because he is that kind of energetic, uh, fast, quick player that we need in midfield, something that Elliott could not do. So I think there are a lot of things in play at Liverpool. I think this season we continue with this 4-3-3. And the next series is when you'll see a lot of changes because we will say Ekitike will want to play every game. He's recently been called up by the France national side. So him sitting on the bench makes no sense. Isak
Mm.
obviously is our record signing. He will not be sitting on the bench. So it'll be a little difficult to keep everybody happy. But once everybody or once we keep winning, right? I don't think people will complain. And I do think that Cody Gakpo will be rotated a little bit because we don't have Luis Diaz anymore. So there are so many games right now. You want to keep all the players fresh. And Arne Slot is not somebody who's afraid to make substitutions. So it's not like people will not get playing time in games. So I think we'll be fine. It's just that there are so many things going on. It's kind of crazy to keep a tab on what might happen.
Okay, so let's move on. Of course, you guys have also bought Wirtz, and he's been playing well, and Kerkez and Frimpong as well. But I'm interested in the center back position as well, Adil, because on the deadline day, of course, this huge transfer saga played out. With Crystal Palace and Marc Guehi, you guys wanted him. He has 1 year left on his contract. You had a fee agreed with their chairman for 35 million pounds. He got his medical done. He was waiting to be revealed. There were like social media announcements ready, and Oliver Glasner, the coach, pulled the rug out from under him, right? And you ended up not, being able to buy him and not really a replacement for him either, right? So, although you do have a young kid called Giovanni Leone from Parma, 18 years old, do you think that leaves you a little light in the center back position, or what is your thoughts?
Oh, 100%. I think we are a little susceptible at the back due to injuries because I've said this time and time again. Joe Gomez, although he puts in a great shift, he is injury prone. Konate, we were lucky last season. He didn't pick up a serious injury, but he too is injury prone and might not be able to play 2 games every week. Virgil van Dijk obviously is the leader, but again, he might not be able to play because of his age. And then we've just got Leone. So there is a big question about how we deal with this, and heaven forbid, if a serious injury occurs to any one of our center backs, then that'll be a huge problem. But I just want to touch upon this entire story, right? So Oliver Glasner was adamant right through the window that he will not allow Guehi to leave unless they get a replacement. They get a replacement in Igor from Brighton, I believe. And he doesn't want to join them because he went for the transfer, I think for the medical or something, and he did not agree to it because he would not get playing time. So what I've heard, and this is the crazy part, right? This is transfer deadline day. Steve Parish, who's I think the Crystal Palace chairman,
Yep.
he's getting multiple messages from Glasner regarding Gehi. And at 6 p.m., when he should have been in his office talking to all of these people, he was actually at a fitness center. He was getting some kind of thing done. Can you imagine this, right? So suppose it's the month end and there's a sales collection meeting going on, and the CEO is not there. He's at a fitness meeting.
Oh,
What's
man.
going on? And the
Uh,
other thing I just wanted to touch upon before we wrap up this Gehi bit is this entire summer we've seen, or not just this summer, we've seen players become babies when it comes to transfer windows, right? I will not play. I'm on a strike. I won't train. Isak did it. Visa did it. We've seen players like Felipe Coutinho do it. Luka Modric do it. They go AWOL. They don't know what's going on, and then they get the deal done. Gay, he was the complete opposite. He was a model professional. He helped Palace reach the European competition for the first time. The day before the transfer deadline, he was playing for Palace. So
and
it's
what a
not like
goal he scored.
what a goal he scored, right?
Oh
And
my
you
goodness.
and you think that this is his just reward. He's been perfect for Palace. He'll get Palace some money, and Palace, or sorry, Oliver Glasner decides to do what he did. So damned if you do, damned if you don't is basically
Yeah,
what it is for players. So
agreed.
kind of sad for him, but I do think that if he gets a move in the summer, it'll be for a lot of money because obviously he'll get a good signing on fee. But I think he might
Yeah.
be on the move in the window. So let's see what happens to him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so too, right? And I think you'll obviously get him for cheap, right? Either for free in the summer or the winter for a reduced fee. So I think it might still work out for you guys. I know this is not a current signing Nadeem, but I still wanted to talk about Rio and Gumoha, right?
Oh,
Because he's been integrated in the first team squad. He's been chosen over Chiesa in your Champions League list, right? And he scored a crucial goal, a winning goal, for Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. So, what do you think about him as basically a new signing, so to speak, and a backup for Cody Gakpo on that left wing?
so the thing with Ingo Moa is that he's so raw and so young, right? Like the sky is the limit. We've seen comparisons with the young Raheem Sterling, and he's been compared to those kind of players. But uh, I just want to touch upon the calmness he had when he scored that Newcastle goal. I don't know if we spoke about this or not, but that ball coming to him, Szoboszlai does that dummy, and we've seen so many players with experience smash the ball over the bar, right? And I was seeing it and I was like, no way, he can't just slot it into the corner. He's going to take a touch and then he's going to smash it in. No, no, no. First time, right in the corner, Pope has nowhere to go. And it just speaks volumes about this player and how much belief we have in him and how much I think Chelsea also believed in him is that we are picking him in the Champions League squad over Federico Chiesa and into that an Italian international, someone who's done it all in the biggest stage. That goes to say that there's a lot of things that we expect from Ngomo, and he will play. So obviously that's. And I think the
Yeah.
one reason why we did this is because we want to see Engo Moha versus Trent Alexander-Arnold and Real Madrid gonna call it.
That's
Release,
not going to end well
yeah,
for Trent.
release
Oh
the
man.
tapes. So you do know
I
that we
when
deleted we deleted a
yeah.
lot of the training tapes
Oh.
because
Oh
Engo
yeah, yeah.
Moha apparently. ripped one of the players to shreds, and
Yeah.
rumors suggest it was Trent. So
Oh, it is because like you see him every time he gets the ball, right? He's electric,
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
as a opposition fan, you're scared. Like he can go past anybody, and even if he doesn't, he keeps going at it, right? So eventually he's going to get past you, and then his end product we've all seen, all been a witness to. Just a quick kind of clarification on the Chelsea perspective, right? For the longest time, I thought Chelsea were not willing to give him a deal. That's why he moved over from Cobham, but that's not true. He chose Liverpool over Chelsea because Liverpool presented a better project, a better pathway, and they are being true to their word, right? Chelsea often are not true to their word, right? If you look at our recent history, right? If you show a young kid a pathway in a top team, he's going to choose it. And I think going forward, maybe this is the Lamine Yamal for Liverpool this year, right? A 16, 17-year-old kid breaking through. So, Adim, anything else you want to talk about how Wirtz and Kerkez and Frimpong have been performing?
So the funny thing is, we are 3 from 3 in the Premier League, right? And none of our performances have been, I would say, championship caliber. Kerkez, he was really good against Arsenal, I will say that much, but he's looked a little off. And Frimpong's picked up an injury. The thing is that this is something that we touched upon, is that we've got so many new players coming in, right? And we've got so many players going out. There will be a time, or we will need time for them to gel, to understand what happens in the system. So I think it's a little too early to actually criticize anyone. Give them a little bit more time and see what happens. But we've got a really good young spine now. I mean, the spine is actually very set with Van Dijk and all, but the other players that have come in, they're so young. Isak's, I think, 26, I believe. Ekitike is young. Kerkez is young. Frimpong is young. Leone, obviously, and Gumoha. As I said at the start of the episode, we've actually now set up for the next 5 or 6 years. And if things click, we will dominate the Premier League. And then it's to be seen if we can do something in the Champions League or not. So, very interesting and fun times ahead. This is what it feels like to be a Chelsea fan, I guess, right? I mean, when Roman Abramovich was there,
No.
right? He was
Yeah,
signing
Roman
Crespo.
Abramovich,
He was
yes,
signing
yes.
Crespo. You were signing Drogba. You were signing, who else was there? Michael Ballack and Deco.
Everybody. We signed Veron, we signed that particular window, we went crazy. Yeah.
Shevchenko. It was
Yeah.
crazy, man. I mean, like we used to read it on the papers at that time. I don't think we had that fast internet. And like Chelsea as a signing players, we used to watch those shows on TV, Football Focus, remember, on ESPN.
Yep,
And it's
yep,
like,
yep.
oh my God, what are Chelsea doing? So this is what Liverpool did. We became Chelsea for one window, and I guess this is what it feels like to be rich. Thank God. Wow.
On that note, I think that's a good note to wrap up the podcast. So, our listeners, please let us know who do you think is going to be Liverpool's best signing in this particular blockbuster transfer window? Who do you think Liverpool might miss because they also sold a whole bunch of people, young as well as established stars, right? And as usual, please like, share, and subscribe to our comment. Let us know what you feel about the podcast. And with that, we'll come back again next week. We'll talk about the games that are coming up next week. We'll talk about Chelsea's transfer window, which has been as always interesting, intriguing. And till then, have a good one and see you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.